Let's hit some anytime goal scorers as well as safe shots on goal for some of these goalies. Give me both teams to score in the first period. That's coming in at plus 185 compared to the over 1.5 that is at minus 120. Okay, you guys ready? Let's make some frickin' money. It's time for Pocket with Jo. Good morning, everyone. Jo here at SportsGrid. It's time for Pocket with Jo over here on SportsGrid TV. If you're watching on any of the other platforms, thank you so much for joining us today. We have an absolutely loaded slate out there on a deck on the ice. So we're going to jump straight into it. Again, if you can't stick around for the whole show, make sure you come back for the recap at the end of the show. But sorry, we're a couple minutes late getting started here today. Just with all of these games, there's a lot of things to look at this morning. I wanted to make sure I was coming at you with all of the best numbers. So let's kick it off here with the Philadelphia Flyers. They're taking on the New Jersey Devils. The Devils are the favorite in this one, coming in at minus 184 on that money line. We've got a total of 5.5. That 5.5 highly juiced to that over at minus 134. We're seeing more 5.5s. 5.5s again today out there on deck. Jacob Markstrom is expected here for the New Jersey Devils, and we have Ergen confirmed in net for the Philadelphia Flyers. Now, the Flyers are coming off the win versus the Isles. They were able to put up those goals 5-3 on a Thursday. And we look at the New Jersey Devils. This team really needs to get things turned around, you guys. They have lost their last two. They're coming off the overtime loss to the Toronto Maple Leafs. That was a 4-3 loss out there. Their last 4 games have gone to overtime. So this team has been absolutely pushing out there to get things done on the ice, but they have been failing to close out in those last 2. First night of a back-to-back as well, with the Ottawa Senators on a deck tomorrow. Now, with the first night of a back-to-back and the Ottawa Senators, a stronger opponent on deck tomorrow, I don't think off of the loss that we see the New Jersey Devils coming in, underestimating the Philadelphia Flyers. Now, when we look at the Flyers, Morgan Frost has been strong. He's been able to get those goals on the board and for the last 5 games out there for the Philadelphia Flyers. And I do look at the Devils, and I look at Jack Hughes, Timo Meier, all the playmakers on this team, and I expect them to be able to score on Ergen. So with non-confirmation of Jacob Markstrom in net or not for the Devils tonight, I'm just going to isolate the Devils team total with Ergen in goal. The lack of defense here for the Philadelphia Flyers, they're not going to be able to slow down the playmakers here of the New Jersey Devils, in my opinion. So I'll take the Devils team total. That's coming in at 3.5 to the over at plus 100. I do think if it's not Markstrom in net, you can take, this is a heated rivalry between these two teams. They do not like each other. So if it's not Jacob Markstrom in goal tonight for the New Jersey Devils, I would take the full game over that 6.5. It was a 5.5, or sorry, it is a 5.5, but I think you can hold it to over 6.5. If it's not Jacob Markstrom, we're seeing the 5.5 at minus 134. The over 6.5 will give you plus money. The Boston Bruins and the Ottawa Senators are the next game up. Current odds on FanDuel for this one, we've got Boston rolling in as a dog. This is really interesting here with the Boston Bruins. They're at plus 114. That total is sitting at 5.5. Plus 100 to the over. Rightly so, these teams trend to the under, and we look at what these defenses have been doing. I do think this one stays under that total. So that total of 5.5 minus 122 to the under. Could we ult this one under 4.5? It's quite possible, but that will be hard. The under 4.5, I think it's more likely a 5-goal game, a 3-2 style game here. Both of these teams have been locking down on the defensive side, so it could be a 2-1 style game, but I would prefer to keep it at 5.5 minus 122. Minus 137 here for the Ottawa Senators if you think they can come out and get the win. I like the value here on Boston. I think the value is just so much for us at plus 114 to jump on Boston. They've won their last 2 games out there on the ice. They got a nice big win over the Tampa Bay Lightning, locking down defensively, but offensively really stepping up. Winning that one 6-2. That was at home on Tuesday, and that was versus a team that they normally struggle against. They're facing the San Jose Sharks on Monday, so no look-ahead situation for Boston. And with the Ottawa Senators, they do have the New Jersey Devils tomorrow on deck. So first night of a back-to-back here, I do think if we see this game go the way where Boston is up in that third period, are we going to get that last 5-minute push to exhaust them out here? They should want to get the win. This is a battle of the Atlantic, but I just don't know if they can get it done. Swayman expected here for Boston. You know that I don't have that much faith in it, but you look at the defense here of the Boston Bruins and what they've been doing. They've been able to lock down on the defensive side. And Levy coming in here for the Ottawa Senators. I'm not even going to try to pronounce his last name. He has been standing tall between the pipes. So I do think this is a nice one for the under. Boston's also played really strong in Ottawa. They won 9 of the last 12 meetings in Ottawa and 17 of the last 26 meetings overall. So Boston knows how to beat the Ottawa Senators. The under strong trends, 6 of the last 7 have gone to that under as well. So give me the under and give me a small shot here on the Boston Bruins. It's okay. I was late too today, so we're all late. Good morning, Kev, to you as well. Morning here in Winnipeg. Winterpeg? Is it cold there? Let's get this money. Timo Meier. Yeah, I'm going with Timo Meier as well. Sidney Crosby for the Pittsburgh Penguins for the anytime goal. I like that. And Ovechkin anytime goal. Parlaying those together, Mo, that is a great look here. I do like the Penguins. Sidney Crosby was held off the board last night. I'm still shaking my head over that. And, OV has been rolling hot. So plus 485, you guys. I totally stand behind that play, Mo. Great work. And Neil, good morning to you as well. Okay, let's jump into the next game here. The Dallas Stars taking on the Colorado Avalanche. Now, I know some of you are not going to like my pick in this one. We got Dallas rolling in at plus 106, and I really like how this team is playing right now with Colorado off that loss, though, to the Edmonton Oilers in a game which they were controlling until they just weren't out there. Nathan McKinnon with his frustrations, you saw that. They're a dangerous team, right? They're here at home. They're minus 128 favorite, but I think Dallas is just as dangerous out there on the ice. Dallas rolling in at plus 106, and I can't get past the value we're getting on the Dallas Stars. Now, you're also not going to like where I'm going with this total because we know how explosive offensively both of these teams can be, but I can't get there to the over. I got to go under. The under coming in at plus 110, and that is a 5.5. You guys, if you want to go over the 5.5, I don't blame you because we do have strong offenses. That's coming in at minus 134, but I can't get there. Even though I think this game has every ability to go to OT, the overtime bet coming in at plus 300. My favorite bet of this game. Give me overtime at plus 300. Then I'm going to look at the under 5.5 at plus 110. I do think this is a 3-2 win in overtime. I'm going to look here for the under in the first period, the under 1.5 coming in at minus 110. And I'm going to take a shot on no goals in the first 10 minutes. That's coming in at plus 110. So I really do believe we could go into the second period scoreless between these two teams. Dallas has allowed just 1.5 goals in their previous 4 games on average, and Colorado has given up 2 goals in their last 4 games. So we've got really tight defenses here, and I do think that is what we will see. So 2 goals on average for Colorado, 1.5 goals on average for the Dallas Stars in their last 4. It has full recipe of a lower scoring goaltending battle. So in for Colorado, Mackenzie Blackwood is expected. And for the Dallas Stars, Jake Ottinger. We know both of those goaltenders can stand tall. And this is a battle of the Central. 3rd in the Central here for the Dallas Stars. 4th in the Central for the Colorado Avalanche. This is where these teams want to shine. So they have to beat divisional opponents. The road team, Dallas on the road, phenomenal, 12-9 on the season, stronger than I would have expected them to be. But both teams have strong kills as well. So we know that those power plays will come to play, especially for Colorado. But the kills are strong on both sides. So I got to take the under. Colorado, though, has been strong off of a loss. So Colorado coming off the loss versus Edmonton, they've been able to bounce back, winning their last 7 off of a loss. So we have seen that for Colorado. I just don't know, you guys. Jimmy Benn has been so strong for Dallas, especially versus Colorado. He's been able to score a goal in each of the last 2 versus the Colorado Avalanche. So if you really want a goal scorer, but again, I think this is such a low scoring battle, I will not be jumping on a goal scorer. Let's get this freaking money today. So top of the morning to you as well. I feel a little Irish saying that. The Anaheim Ducks taking on the Florida Panthers. And I can say that. My heritage is kind of Irish. So my dad's side from Australia is from Ireland. So the Anaheim Ducks taking on the Florida Panthers. One of the biggest dogs of the day with the Anaheim Ducks at plus 310. The Florida Panthers at minus 400. minus 400 to a team that just hasn't been gelling as of late. And yes, they've recorded some wins, but they've also been recording some losses out there on the ice. They are, $4 favorite, minus 1.5 on the puck line, minus 142. No, thank you. This total sitting at 5.5. The over 5.5 minus 138. You're getting plus money to the under. I can't take it under with John Gibson in net tonight for the Anaheim Ducks. He has his struggles. Now, Bobrovsky is strong in for the Florida Panthers. This Florida Panthers team is averaging 3 goals over their last 4 games, and they have the 7th best power play in the league. So, Florida off the loss to the Red Wings, they lost that one 5-2, should really step up in this game here at home. We have the Anaheim Ducks losing their last 2. Though Thursday in that loss to the Tampa Bay Lightning, they pushed the Tampa Bay Lightning all the way to a shootout. That was a 4-3 loss for the Anaheim Ducks. So this team has been playing strong with stronger teams out there. Now, these teams do play again on Tuesday in Anaheim. No games in between for either of these teams. But when we look at the schedule for the Florida Panthers, they play the Ducks on Tuesday, but guess who they have on Wednesday? They have the LA Kings on Wednesday. So I do think if Florida is going to lose one of these 2 meetings, it's more likely that they come out, steamroll over the Ducks today, and then we see them lose versus the Ducks on Tuesday with the Kings on deck on Wednesday. So that's how I'm looking ahead to this one with Florida coming off that loss. So, and the Ducks having those struggles in the first period, I'm going to look at the Florida Panthers in the first period. The Florida Panthers in the first period on the puck line laying a half a goal coming in at minus 104. I think they get up in that first period, and then we see the Ducks keep battling. So the Ducks have lost, and that last game was a shootout, so overtime. The Ducks have lost their last 7 first periods off of an overtime game. So last 7 first periods on the road. This is a perfect situation to look at Florida off that loss to come out strong in the first period. And then we should get more value on the Ducks. Now, if the Florida Panthers can go up 2-0 in that first period, looking at the Ducks coming back on that puck line might not be a bad way to go. But I do think overall, this is just a game you get Florida for the win. You just got to find value. And the best value I can find is that puck line in the first period. The Ducks have also lost their last 5 first periods off of overtime. So a lot of things against them. They have covered the puck line, though, the last 5 games in Florida. So they play scrappy hockey here, that is for sure. The road teams won 5 of the last 7. I can't get behind the Ducks to win this one. If the Ducks win this one, they probably win at home too, right? Because the Kings will be such a look ahead for the Florida Panthers. So I am cautious with that. The Ducks, though, have lost 2 of the last 7 meetings in Florida. So I just don't see it happening at all, you guys. Troy Terry, is your playmaker here for the Anaheim Ducks if you want a playmaker. And then Barkov. I think Barkov comes out nice and strong for the Florida Panthers. Matthew Tkachuk as well. Anytime goal for which game? Are you talking this one here with the Florida Panthers? I'll look at Barkov over Troy Terry. If Florida gets up 2-0, yeah, it should be plus 3.5, and that definitely should be playable, Neil, if we do see the Florida Panthers go up 2-0. And that's ultimately what I want to see. And then coming back in on that puck line, you do think it should be a strong way to go. If we're getting plus 3.5 at plus 105, minus 110, that's where I will hit on it. If the 3.5 is coming in at minus 150, there's no way I'm going to touch it there. Could we see Bobrovsky get the shutout win? It's quite possible with this Anaheim Ducks team with how they've had those struggles out there. So I do think they keep it within, they should keep it tighter, but it's kind of caution to the, I don't want to throw caution to the wind. I just want to get in and out with Florida. Let's look at the Detroit Red Wings. The Detroit Red Wings are in action today. We know how hot this team is rolling. If I could find odds on FanDuel, that would be nice. There they are. Plus 168 here for the Detroit Red Wings. The Tampa Bay Lightning at minus 205. Total of 6.5. Now the 6.5 juice to the under. Minus 140 to the under. Plus 114 to the over. You guys, this is a hard one for me not to take over that total. But when we do look at trends, these teams have trended to the under. I'm going to throw that out the window. 4 of the last 5 meetings have gone under the total. 4 of the last 5 in Tampa have gone under that total as well. But the Red Wings, with how this offense is clicking, I'm just not buying into it. I'm just also not buying into the fact because the Tampa Bay Lightning as well have an explosive offense. Now, when you look at the overall stats, when we extend them over the last 10, 11, 12 years, the Red Wings have struggled versus the Tampa Bay Lightning. That is just a straight out fact. But when we look at the last 10, we saw the Red Wings sweep them last season. They won all 3 meetings last season, and they've gone 6-3-1 in the last 10. So I do think the Red Wings have every ability to pull off the upset. We're getting that at plus 168 right now live on FanDuel. This earlier was plus 180. So money is coming in on the Red Wings here. And I think you jump on it before the value is gone. Now, if you want to look at the Red Wings for a live bet, if we see the Tampa Bay Lightning go up first, then I would come back in on the Red Wings as well. We're going to get more value. So plus 168 right now. If we see the Lightning go up, this should be a plus 250 here for the Red Wings. So I will be coming back in on it because we know both of these teams can be highly explosive. The Red Wings have just been rolling so freaking hot as of late. I can't step in front of this team. We do see Andre Vasilevsky expected here for the Tampa Bay Lightning and Cam Talbot for the Red Wings. Now, the Lightning are off the win versus the Ducks in shootout. On Thursday, that was a 4-0 win. And we do see here the Red Wings off of that win versus the Florida Panthers. To put up 5 goals on the Florida Panthers is pretty incredible with how that defense can lock down. First night of a back-to-back here for the Red Wings, but I'm not worried about that. The star is on deck tomorrow. The Red Wings are a team that, they've won 8 of their last 9 games. They are not going to look ahead to the Stars tomorrow. They got that loss to the Sharks before they headed out on the road on this road trip. So that was a look ahead situation that we did miss, them losing that game to the San Jose Sharks. But I do think in this one, they're not going to look past the Tampa Bay Lightning with the Stars on deck tomorrow. Braden Point, you got to look at Braden Point and Hagel for the points. That definitely is a great way to go. Larkin, Raymond, and DeBrincat all there. Dylan Larkin and Raymond and DeBrincat. Yeah, I like that. That is a great way to go for sure, Neil. Let's look at the Pittsburgh Penguins. They're taking on the Washington Capitals. Washington Capitals rolling so freaking hot. They're almost a $2 favorite at minus 194. We have a total of 5.5 at minus 134 to the over in this one. And plus 160 if you believe in the Pittsburgh Penguins. Now, second night of back-to-back. They're off the win versus the Sabres last night. 5-2 win. You would have expected Sidney Crosby to get 2 points in that game, but he absolutely did not. I'm coming back in on Sidney Crosby for the anytime goal and the points tonight. Now, this is going to be hard here versus Logan Thompson. Logan Thompson has been just stellar between the pipes this season, and I love what he brings to the table here for the Washington Capitals. Ultimately, because he is in net, I do think the Washington Capitals get the win. Bloomquist is in net tonight for the Pittsburgh Penguins. The total is scary because I do think the Washington Capitals can push this one enough themselves for this one to go over that total as long as we get a couple goals out of the Pittsburgh Penguins. So I lean to this one going over. Logan Thompson, though, we look at his numbers. He has a 22-3 record on the season. Last season was his career high for wins. That was 25 wins. You guys, he is on track definitely to surpass this. And we look at his record on the season, and he's 4th best in the NHL right now. He's got a .915 save percentage and a 924. So his best was a 915 save percentage on the season, over his career. And he's got a 924 save percentage currently. So he is playing lights out there. The Washington Capitals have won their last 3. So I do think this team brings it. They got the win over the Ottawa Senators 1-0. Really strong defensive battle out there in their last game. That was an overtime win as well. They're sitting first in the Metro. This is a battle of the Metro. So 6 in the Metro for the Pittsburgh Penguins. They will be kicking off a road trip versus the Edmonton Oilers on a Monday. It's a 5-game road trip that kicks off. It's the Oilers on Tuesday. So they do have that look-ahead situation. I think because of that, we could see a couple of goals here out of the Penguins, but Logan Thompson, that's just a hard one. I'm going to look at the Capitals to roll in hot in the first period with the Pittsburgh Penguins on the second night of a back-to-back. Sometimes you see these teams really be able to step up in that first period and then let it go. The Pittsburgh Penguins are a team that are strong in the first period, but I just don't think they're going to hit Logan Thompson right away out of the net. Or right out of the gate. So I'm going to look at the Capitals first period puck line. That's coming in minus 105. You're still not getting great value at minus 110, but I do think it's a solid way to go. The Toronto Maple Leafs then take on the Montreal Canadiens, and I think Montreal is absolutely barking. Who doesn't love the Montreal Canadiens here at home? They're coming in at plus 122. The value is starting to die off, you guys. The Toronto Maple Leafs at minus 146, total of 5.5. Minus 130 to the over. Montreal is just so hot right now. They were up plus 130. Underdog earlier in the morning. Joseph Wall versus Sam Montague is your goaltending matchup. Now, the Toronto Maple Leafs are off the win versus the New Jersey Devils in overtime on Thursday, 4-3. They were at home for that one. This is a one-off road game. I don't love these teams coming out for one-off road games, especially in rivalry matchups like this between the Atlantic. First in the Atlantic here for the Toronto Maple Leafs, 6 in the Atlantic for the Montreal Canadiens. Montreal's won their last 2. Thursday, they got that win over the Dallas Stars, 3-1. Phenomenal win. I love how deep this team is digging. Patrick Laine, Cole Caulfield, Nick Suzuki, look at those playmakers to come out strong versus the Toronto Maple Leafs tonight. Now, Patrick Laine has scored at least 1 goal in each of his last 3 home appearances. Cole Caulfield, we know, is able to even get those shorties out there. I'd look at him for the power play points tonight. I think this is a really solid matchup. Now, Toronto did win the first meeting back in November, 4-1, but look for payback here out of Montreal. I'm going to take Montreal. And yes, their first night of a back-to-back, they got the Rangers on deck. Again, you look at a team 6 in the Atlantic, they are not looking past the top team in the Atlantic tonight versus playing not as hard because they got the Rangers. You know what I mean? They're not going to look ahead to the Rangers tomorrow. So give me Montreal to pull off the upset with that plus money. The Columbus Blue Jackets do take on the New York Rangers. Again, the New York Rangers will be facing Montreal tomorrow. And Columbus has been hot. This team has been winning, and they've won their last 6 straight. They got that win versus the Sharks on Thursday, 4-1. I love what their defense is bringing to the table. Elvis has been strong in goal, but Tarasov will get the start tonight. With Tarasov in net, you got to look for the Rangers to be able to put up their share of the goals tonight. He's got a 3.99 goals against average and an 862 save percentage, so I really can't trust in him. Igor Shesterkin, since getting back out there on the ice, has been strong between the pipes, and I do trust in him to really limit the Columbus Blue Jackets. Now, can the Columbus Blue Jackets lock down enough in front of Tarasov to limit the Rangers' ability to get these goals? Maybe, but I'm not buying into it. I do think the Rangers will score and score at will on Tarasov tonight. They should be able to get those high danger shots. So Tarasov, again, 862 save percentage. I can't trust in him. Give me the Rangers team total. The Rangers team total is 3.5, minus 128 to the over. The home team has won the last 4 meetings between these two teams. So if you just want to look at the New York Rangers in reg, that's going to bring that line down. Because currently the lines on FanDuel for this is the New York Rangers at minus 205. I don't want to lay the puck line. Going to be honest with you, laying the puck line, laying 1.5 is plus 118. I know the Rangers are home in the Garden, but again, this team has been so shaky this season. I just don't have that faith. There's so much going on behind the scenes. Columbus plus 1.5. I would rather take it minus 144, but again, the value is not there. I just don't want to take a puck line at minus 144. If we see the Rangers go up in the first period and we see plus money on the puck line here for the Columbus Blue Jackets, yeah, I will definitely jump back in. That total of 6.5, I'm leery to take it all to the over because I could see a 4-2 game here for the New York Rangers. So that pushes us over that team total of 3.5 that we have to lay the juice, but it doesn't push us over the total of 6.5. The under is a strong trend in New York, 5 of the last 7 going under that total. And the Columbus Blue Jackets have struggled in New York, only winning 1 of the last 5. So if you take it in reg, you're bringing the New York Rangers down to like a minus 130 favorite in regulation. Still too much juice for me on this one. Irish King, good morning. Good morning to you too, Lamont. It's a good day. Sounds like over first period. Detroit, yeah. Kelly, I love the over in the first period between Detroit and Tampa. I expect both of those teams to come out fast and furious in that first period. Both teams to score in the first period, I think, is another solid way. I'm really hoping that the Tampa Bay Lightning go up and score first so I can come back in on the Detroit Red Wings. Money line again at plus 168. Yeah, we're still getting value, but it was plus 180. I wanted it a $2 dog there coming back on that money line. So that is what I'm hoping for in that one, you guys. We got to shop the Calgary Flames and the Winnipeg Jets. Calgary is the dog on the road, and rightly so, plus 158. The Winnipeg Jets at minus 192. Total of 5.5 in this one, plus 104 to the under. And I do lean for this one to go under that total, as long as we can see Connor Hellebuyck really limit the Calgary Flames. Calgary's just been struggling to get those goals on the board, and they're not a team that I trust that much out there on the road. They've lost their last two. They lost both to the St. Louis Blues. 4-1 was their last loss. We look at the Winnipeg Jets and we look at Connor Hellebuyck and we look at how this defense can step up. And I struggle to see Calgary scoring 2 goals. Now, could they? Yeah. So it is cautious to this total of 5.5. But I think if you want the best bet, it's probably just the Winnipeg Jets on the puck line. Laying 1.5 goals on the puck line here for the Winnipeg Jets at plus 136. And yes, Dustin Wolf expected here for Calgary in that. And I do have a lot more faith in him, but to slow down this Winnipeg Jets team is going to be incredibly hard for the Calgary Flames. They let the St. Louis Blues in that last game put 4 goals on them. And I just don't see a recipe for where the Winnipeg Jets aren't getting 4 goals on the Calgary Flames tonight. So if you want to look at the Winnipeg Jets team total over 3.5, I don't hate it. They did win the last matchup 5-3 back in October. So Calgary was able to get some goals, help push that one to the over. But out here on the road, I'm just not biting on the Calgary Flames. We have seen the Winnipeg Jets win their last 3. They got that win on Thursday versus the Seattle Kraken 2-1. So that was a lower scoring game. They have a road trip loading, just a short 2-game road trip. They will be at Utah on Monday and then at Colorado on Wednesday. So not really a look ahead situation for them either. Let's look at another one where I do think we've got a road dog. We got the San Jose Sharks at plus 184 taking on the New York Islanders. The New York Islanders special teams are a complete mess, and the books want us to lay minus 225 on that money line on this team. No freaking way am I biting there. Minus 1.5 on that puck line. And yeah, that could get you some plus money at plus 118, but I don't think the Isles win, let alone cover that puck line. I'm looking for the Sharks to be absolutely barking in this one. I hope the Isles can go up first, but I really doubt it. So I'm coming in on the Sharks right away on that money line. I do think they can win this in a lower scoring battle out there. Tyler Toffoli has been strong for them. So is Celebrini. And I do think Toffoli could find the back of the net tonight for the Isles. Both these teams have backup goaltending, but you look at the Isles, worst power play, worst kill in the league. This offense isn't an offense that I'm afraid of, especially without Sorokin in goal tonight. I just don't trust the Isles to be able to get the win, let alone that cover. And yes, this is an Islanders team that went into Vegas, and I was looking for Aiden Hill to get the shutout, and Sorokin got a 4-0 shutout. So every dog has their day, and they were the dog in that one today. I think it's the Sharks that really are barking. They're off the loss to the Columbus Blue Jackets 4-1. They're at the Bruins on Monday. This team's sitting, last in the Pacific, but I do think they can step up here versus the Isles. I'm going to take a chance on the San Jose Sharks. I do think under, though, is in play. So the under coming in at 5.5 at plus 100, and overtime coming in at plus 300, I think you can look at as well. The Minnesota Wild taking on the Nashville Predators is the next game on deck. Now, looking at current odds on FanDuel this morning, plus 158 for the Minnesota Wild. The Nashville Predators, almost a $2 favorite. Hard to believe here, these lines that we're getting. We know the Predators have been stronger at home than on the road, but the Minnesota Wild, clearly a better team. Total up 5.5 minus 120. Still injury concerns for the Minnesota Wild. They've lost their last 2. They did lose that last game to the Edmonton Oilers 5-3 at home. They're at the Avs on Monday. So yeah, a strong opponent on deck. This is a battle of the Central, though. We have the Minnesota Wild sitting second in the Central, 7th here for the Nashville Predators. The difference maker in this game, and why I do like the Nashville Predators, is Saros. Saros has been phenomenally strong in his career versus the Minnesota Wild. In 6 games versus the Wild, he's gone 5-1 with a 2.04 goals against average and a .940 save percentage. So I'm expecting Saros to stand tall between the pipes tonight. They've won their last 2. They're coming off a shootout win versus the Chicago Blackhawks. They still allowed Chicago to put up 2 goals, but lower scoring 3 to win in that one. They have the Sharks on deck on Tuesday, of course. No look ahead. If you're looking for a long shot goal scorer, we all know Stamkos, bringing him onto this team, it didn't click offensively like everyone expected. But when we look at Stamkos, in his last 3 home games, Stamkos has scored the first goal. So Stamkos to score the first goal tonight, it's like plus 1,400 if you just want to look at Stamkos for the anytime goal. I do think he's going to get it here on Marc-Andre Fleury, who's expected in goal for the Minnesota Wild. Now, you also, so you look at the Predators and you look at Saros, but then you also look at the Wild and how they played in Nashville. The line completely makes sense that the books are giving us, even though on paper, you know, you got the second in the Central coming in as a huge dog versus the 7th in the Central. When we look at the Wild in Nashville, they've only won 2 of the last 13 meetings here, and they just haven't played strong as of late. Like I said, losing their last 2. So I think this one goes over the total of 5.5. If the Predators are to win this, I think they have to put up 4 goals on Marc-Andre Fleury, and then we see 2 out of the Wild. 4-2 style win here for the Preds, which really does coincide with looking at that puck line. You guys know when I'm looking at a puck line, I worry about this game being that tight at the end, that I really like looking at the first period puck line. And I do think the Preds in the first period, that is where we've seen this team really step up. I'll look at the puck line first period, laying a half goal. It's coming in at plus 144. So that's where I'll go with the Preds. Otherwise, I'd look at regulation here for the Preds to bring that line down a little bit. They were a minus 130 favorite last night. So you look at that line, it's moved 60 points, you guys. It's really hard to find value other than that first period puck line, I think, here, because it could be, you know, I think it's a 4-2 game for the Predators pushing us over. But if it is that 3-2, I don't want to be sitting here with the puck line hoping for that empty netter as the Wild pull their goaltender. So I don't want to be in that situation. So I will just look at the Preds first period puck line. Next, we got the Vegas Golden Knights on deck versus the Chicago Blackhawks. The Chicago Blackhawks, another home dog. Are they barking tonight? They're coming in at plus 198 here on the money line. Minus 245 on the Vegas Golden Knights in Vegas on their second night of back-to-back. They played the Carolina Hurricanes last night. Less goals than I expected in that matchup. We got a total of 6.5. Minus 114 to the under, minus 106 to the over. I do think Chicago can keep this tight. Samsonov expected in goal for the Vegas Golden Knights and Peter Mrazek here for the Chicago Blackhawks. Now, with the second night of a back-to-back for the Vegas Golden Knights, they lost that last game last night to the Carolina Hurricanes 3-2. I'm expecting this to be a 1-goal game. What I want to do, though, is I want to live bet this one. You know, Vegas off of a loss is going to come out so hot in that first period. I expect them to get up, and then I want to come back in on Chicago on that puck line plus 2.5. Ultimately, if we can get it plus 1.5 with great plus money right now, the plus 1.5 is minus 122. I don't love the value, but I do think it's a 1-goal game. The Vegas Golden Knights have won 7 of the last 10 meetings in Chicago. But when we look at the puck line for Vegas versus the Chicago Blackhawks, they've gone 3-7. So we have seen Chicago cover that puck line in 7 of the last 10 versus Vegas. I do think they have every opportunity to do so again today. But again, a minus 1.5 or plus 1.5 on the puck line at minus 128. Again, the juice is ticking up on that. It's ticked up by 6 points there. I don't want to get there. I want to see Vegas score first, and then I want to come back in on Chicago. So that's what I'm looking at. The under has been a strong trend between these two. The under has hit in 5 of the last 7 meetings. So 6.5 to the under at minus 114. I don't love it as much as Chicago on the puck line. Okay, the St. Louis Blues taking on the Utah Hockey Club. The St. Louis Blues are rolling in as the dog up plus 102. There's value on this team, you guys. You know the playmakers on this team, and I know Clayton Keller is strong for Utah, but Utah I don't really trust at home. They've been a better road team. They're minus 122 on that money line. I can't get behind that. We got a total of 5.5, minus 122 to the over, plus 100 to the under. Over bettors are going to hate this because I will hit the under. We're starting to lose value on that under as well as these lines move. So it was plus 112 to the under. Earlier, it's now plus 100. I would jump on the under still, and I do think the St. Louis Blues at plus 102 are able to get this win. Now, the last time these teams matched up, we did see back in November, the St. Louis Blues lose it. Utah got the 4-2 win. I think in this one, we see 3-1 style win here for the St. Louis Blues. Jordan Binnington expected in goal here for the Blues, and Vermalka for the Utah Hockey Club. Now, the Utah Hockey Club have lost their last 3. They're lost that last one to the Rangers 5-3. And we've seen St. Louis be able to get those nice couple wins over the Calgary Flames. They won that last one 4-1, and we saw those goals coming quick. We were sweating the under, and I did out that one down to 4.5, but had the 5.5 as well. So 5 goals hit in that one as Calgary was able to put up one. St. Louis will be at Vegas on Monday, and then they will be home versus Vegas on Thursday. So there's a bunch of these teams where they have home and road and home kind of situations between teams. And this game here at Battle of the Central, I love when you look at these divisional matchups for the defenses to really lock down. So I do think it stays under. St. Louis, 5th in the Central, 6th in the Central here for Utah. Let's look at another lower scoring game. Well, at least it should be lower scoring. The LA Kings. The LA Kings are in action tonight. They're in Seattle to take on the Kraken. This total of 5.5. Of course, we got a late freaking juice to that under at -142. Can we ult it down to 4.5 and get plus money? Absolutely. I do think this is a lower scoring game here between these two. I think the LA Kings win this 3-1 style game, so they should be able to cover that puck line. Laying 1.5 on the puck line up +176 for the LA Kings. Definitely a bet that I like. Now, if you want to take them straight up on the money line, you're going to have to lay so much juice at -154 that I can't get there. But if you look at taking them in regulation, you can bring that number down probably to a +110 or -110. I think it'll be closer to a pick'em style game. The Seattle Kraken at +128 here on the money line. I also think the Seattle Kraken, you look at their team total, like I said, 3-1 style game. The Kraken's team total is 2.5. Now, the books have juiced that to the under at -128, but I do think that is a solid way to go in this game. And then looking at the Kings in regulation, Kings on the puck line. Again, 3-1 style game. Kevin Fiala has been playing nice and strong, and he's played strong versus the Seattle Kraken as well, being able to get those assists. So I would look at Fiala for the point, but you guys know I love going to Kempe and Kopitar, parlaying their points together. So if you want to look at all three parlaying their points together, I don't hate it. Darcy Kemper in goal here for the LA Kings and Joey Decourt for the Seattle Kraken. The Edmonton Oilers and the Vancouver Canucks is the last game on deck. Stuart Skinner coming in here for Edmonton, and Demko expected for the Vancouver Canucks. Now, Edmonton is rolling freaking hot as can be. Of course they are. This Edmonton Oilers team just finds a way. They just did pick up a defenseman from Toronto. He played with the Toronto Maple Leafs and went out with injury last season, and they picked him up for a 1-year contract. He should add to their defense. Now, Skinner versus Demko, you guys know that I just don't have that faith in Skinner, but I don't have the faith in the Vancouver Canucks here at home. And Skinner keeps proving me wrong. He's been standing so tall between the pipes. So at what point do I say, okay, Skinner is the goaltender that I can trust? He took them all the way to the Stanley Cup Finals last season. So I've got to start giving him credit. But I know a lot of people I compare it to in football. No one was a believer in Sam Darnold, and then he had that fall off in the playoffs here for the Minnesota Vikings. It's the same thing that I think will happen to Skinner at some point, but it didn't last season. So while he can let in some easy goals, Skinner is proving himself to be a reputable goalie in the league, and he is doing a fantastic job for the Edmonton Oilers. The defense does need to give him support, and the defense has been locking down this season. We have seen that defensive ability to limit the opponent's shots on goal. It has been coming out. They haven't just been that offensive team that comes out completely firing. And then we look at that last game. They were lucky to get the win versus Colorado. They allowed those goals to come in right away. There's been some of those games. So you guys, you look at the game versus the Pittsburgh Penguins, and all of a sudden Edmonton is allowing 4 goals in the first period. And we're going, what the heck is happening to that defense that has been standing tall? So they're coming up winning their last 4. They got the comeback win versus the Colorado Avalanche. This is the last game on the road of 3. So they have so far won both games out here on the road. They're home versus the Capitals on Tuesday, and then the Canucks on Thursday. So we will see them back in Edmonton versus each other on Thursday. They're sitting second in the Pacific right now, the Edmonton Oilers, 14-6-2 on the road, 7-4-1 in divisional play. So divisional matchup here. The Vancouver Canucks 5th in the Pacific, 7-9-9 at home. Not great numbers at home, 6-4-2 in the division. They've lost their last two. These teams kind of trending in the opposite direction right now. Give me Edmonton to come out strong in that first period on the puck line. We know Edmonton in so many of these games gets up first. Yes, they didn't do it in the last game versus Colorado like I expected, but I do expect them to come out strong here versus Vancouver, even though they're on the road. Edmonton puck line, first period, laying a half a goal is where I will go with this one. Edmonton in their last 10 games has won 8 of them. Like I said, this team is rolling hot. Now, Connor McDavid for 2+ points, I like tonight. And then if you're looking at the other side, I do think we will see a power play conversion here for the Vancouver Canucks. So Connor Granlund has been strong on that power play. I would look at him tonight for the power play point. The power play point coming in at like plus 480. So another strong way to go. But you guys, that is the show. We've gone through every single game. We will get to the recap here. Thank you, everyone who has been hanging tough with us for the last 40 minutes as we go through all of these games. But let's jump into that recap. In the comments, let me know what you were liking today out there on the ice. On X, I can see your comments as well. So everyone watching on SportsGrid TV on X, make sure you drop those comments as well in the chat today. We'll go over any of the questions that you guys do have after we do the recap. So let's jump into that recap right now, you guys. Again, loaded day out there on the ice. Tomorrow, lighter slate. We will be here at noon Eastern on SportsGrid TV. So make sure you do come back, and daily at noon Eastern. First game, the Philadelphia Flyers taking on the New Jersey Devils. I'm going to look at the Devils team total over 3.5. That's coming in at plus 100. I expect this team off of 2 losses to be able to hit Erzen nice and strong in this matchup and be able to get things done offensively. Now, I don't want to take the puck line here because the Devils have lost their last 2, and this Flyers team has been scrappy, tight rivalry between these two teams, and we have seen trends to that over. The Boston Bruins and the Ottawa Senators, I think the value you're getting on the Bruins here on the money line to come into Ottawa and pull off the upset is fantastic, especially considering they've won 9 of the last 12 meetings in Ottawa. So give me the plus money on the Bruins on the money line. I do think this one stays under that total of 5.5. These defenses have been playing strong. Give me the under 5.5. You're going to have to lay juice there, though. The Dallas Stars versus the Colorado Avalanche. Give me the Stars to roll into Colorado and pull off the upset. This team has been strong out there on the road, and I do think this is a tight defensive battle between these two that has every opportunity of going to overtime. Give me the overtime bet at plus 300. Give me the under 5.5 at plus 110. Give me the first period under 1.5 and the no goals in the first period at plus 110. I think this is completely goaltending and defense. The Anaheim Ducks and the Florida Panthers. The Anaheim Ducks have lost their last 2. The Florida Panthers rolling in here off a loss versus the Red Wings. I think Florida gets up in the first period. Give me the Florida Panthers in the first period on the puck line, laying a half a goal at minus 104. The Anaheim Ducks did win January 15th in a 5-4 battle out there, and they've been able to cover the puck line, being strong versus the Florida Panthers, covering the puck line in the last 5. If we see the game play out like I want you guys, with Florida going up in the first period, I want to come back in on the Anaheim Ducks if we're getting plus 2.5 with value, but only if we're getting plus money to the plus 2.5. The Detroit Red Wings and the Tampa Bay Lightning. I think Detroit is barking out here. Give me the Red Wings with that plus money. If Tampa goes up first in this one, I want to come back in on Detroit. This line has been moving, you guys. It's plus 168 right now for the Red Wings on the money line to pull off the upset. Earlier in the day, it was plus 180. If the Tampa Bay Lightning go up first, I expect this number to come back in at plus 250. And you guys know I will be jumping back in on the Red Wings. This team has been so hot. They've also been hot versus the Tampa Bay Lightning. Overall, not so much. But when we look at the last 10, they won 6 of the last 10, pushed in 1. And we've seen also where was I going with this? Last season, they were able to get the sweep. So, sorry, lost my train of thought as my dog started stretching in the corner. I thought he was going to shake, which is just the worst noise. The Pittsburgh Penguins taking on the Washington Capitals. I do think we could see a higher scoring one, as the Pittsburgh Penguins need to get at least 2 goals for this one to go over. So I'm going to be really cautious with that because Logan Thompson is in goal tonight for the Washington Capitals. I think you can look at the Capitals team total with Bloomquist in net here for the Pittsburgh Penguins, but the Penguins coming off a second night of a back-to-back. I expect a little bit of momentum here in this game. This is a team that digs deep on the second night of back-to-back, but with Logan Thompson playing so strong right now, I think you just look at the Washington Capitals in the first period to get up on that puck line, laying a half a goal. Now, I will look at Ovi to come out nice and strong in this one. And for Pittsburgh, you got to look at Sid. Ovi versus Sid, one of the best rivalries out there on the ice. You guys look for both of these guys to come out freaking flying tonight as they take on one another. The Toronto Maple Leafs and the Montreal Canadiens, we have a barking dog at home with Montreal. I love what Montreal is bringing to the table right now. Patrick Laine has been so strong at home. Look at him for the anytime goal. Cole Caulfield, Nick Suzuki. I love all of these playmakers in Toronto in a one-off road game. I just can't trust them here to come out nice and strong. We're getting plus money on Montreal. And then again, if this is a game where Toronto comes out first, we've seen it. We've seen Montreal dig back in these games. I would absolutely love to see Toronto go up 2-0 in that first period and then come back in on Montreal plus 300. That's what I want to see, you guys. You guys know if that's the situation, I'm going to be so excited over here jumping on that live line for the Montreal Canadiens. Now, that game is at 7 o'clock Eastern. I will still be live on the grid, so I will be intensely watching that in the corner of my computer screen as we go over the Chiefs game tonight. So make sure you join me on In-Game Live. The Columbus Blue Jackets and the New York Rangers. I do think Columbus will struggle in this one versus the Rangers. Tarasov in goal. I know this Columbus team has been rolling so hot, but give me the New York Rangers team total over 3.5 at -128. Hate laying the juice, but I think that's the best bet in that game. The Calgary Flames versus the Winnipeg Jets. I think Winnipeg wins and covers the puck line. I'm going to lay the 1.5 with the Winnipeg Jets in this game. Kyle Connor has just been fantastic. This team is clicking on all cylinders. They're able to get those goals. And while Dustin Wolf should be in net and has been strong offensively, I don't trust Calgary to keep up with the Winnipeg Jets. The San Jose Sharks and the New York Islanders. I think the Sharks are barking. I can't trust the special teams. Lack of power play, lack of kill here for the Isles, and we're getting great value on the San Jose Sharks to pull off the win. And I think if they win this is a low-scoring game. I would look at Tyler Toffoli, though, for the anytime goal. We got backup goaltending, so I know it kind of contradicts the lower scoring, but I don't trust either offense to put up a ton of goals in this matchup. I do think it could be settled in overtime. 2-1 overtime win for the Sharks. The Minnesota Wild have completely fallen flat on their faces versus the Nashville Predators in Nashville. And I do think we have another one of those situations with Saros in goal tonight for the Nashville Predators. I will play on the Predators first period puck line, laying a half a goal at +144. I do think this one should go over the total because the Predators put up the majority of the goals. Can we see the Minnesota Wild get a couple to push us over 5.5? Out of 5.5, I go to the over, but more so I like the Predators first period puck line and the Predators to come out nice and strong and go over their team total of 3.5. You're getting great plus money on that. The almost last game, the Vegas Golden Knights versus the Chicago Blackhawks. Give me Chicago +1.5 right now. You're going to have to lay juice at -128. This is where I want to live bet this game. I'm hoping Vegas off of that last couple losses, second night of a back-to-back versus the Carolina Hurricanes last night, losing that one 3-2. Come out strong in the first period. Go up 1. Go up 2 goals. I don't care how many goals they go up. I then want to come back in on Chicago plus whatever on the puck line, as long as I'm getting better value. I don't like the -128 here on the puck line for Chicago, even though I think they cover it. So Chicago has been strong at covering the puck line versus Vegas. So definitely something to watch for. Live betting game here. Absolutely. We've seen Chicago cover the puck line in 7 of the last 10 meetings. So Vegas only covering that puck line in 3 of those, 30%. Yeah, I'm not laying the puck line here for the Vegas Golden Knights. The St. Louis Blues versus Utah. I think St. Louis wins this in a lower scoring game. Give me the plus money on the St. Louis Blues on the money line and the under 5.5 at +102. Last time these teams faced off, Utah did get that 4-2 win, pushing us over that total. I think St. Louis gets revenge here. The LA Kings versus the Seattle Kraken, a game I think you can under 4.5 goals. I think the LA Kings win this 3-1 style game. So LA in regulation, LA on the puck line, laying a goal and a half for plus money. And then the Kraken's team total, you're going to have to lay juice, but I do feel the most confident about this bet, the team total under 2.5 at -128. I struggle to see them getting 2 goals. I think that they probably only get 1 goal in this game. the Edmonton Oilers versus the Vancouver Canucks. I think Edmonton gets a win here in Vancouver. I'll look at Edmonton first period puck line laying that half a goal. You're not getting as much value as I would like as these teams battle it out in the Pacific, but I do think a strong game here for the Edmonton Oilers. I don't trust Vancouver at home, and I keep saying with Skinner, I've got to have more faith in him. So let's have faith in Skinner. If it bites me in the butt tonight, you guys know I'll be frustrated. This is at 10 p.m. Eastern, a game out there. I'm going to look at Connor McDavid for 2+ points. He's rolling hot right now. And I'll look at Connor Granlund for the power play point for the Vancouver Canucks. What's your 3 players in the Kings games for the points? Okay, that would be Kevin Fiala. He's so strong at getting those assists. For the LA Kings, Kevin Fiala, Kempe, and Kopitar. Kempe and Kopitar are always my go-tos. I love all 3 of those guys to be able to get the points tonight. But you guys, that is the show for today. Got a ton of things going on today. Make sure you join me for the the Kansas City Chiefs and the Houston Texans game. I will be live on the grid with Scott Wetzel. We are live for that full game. So we're kicking off right at 4 o'clock Eastern. And we roll straight through till the game is over, at least till 6. We'll go till 6 if the game finishes before 6. We are still there. We'll be talking about the night game as well. So make sure you come over and join us. But live betting the game this afternoon and where you can find angles to jump in on it. It's going to be a really great one. My Cup of Joe is posted. And then my Madden Quickie, you want to head on over to the SportsGrid app to get the Madden Quickie. It is up as we speak. Going to go advertise that on YouTube and Twitter right now because that is up. And those are my favorite bets in both of the games in the divisional matchup tonight. So make sure you stay tuned to that for tomorrow as well. You guys, all the best in all your bets. Again, thank you for joining me. If you can hit that like, hit that retweet button, and the subscribe button on YouTube, get those notifications when we do go live, when the videos are posted. That would be awesome. You guys have a great day. We will talk to you tomorrow here on SportsGrid TV on X.